We have a positive close. NASDAQ closed flat. S&P and the tower up. That's not supposed to happen. We'll probably get one more push down, but we're in a bottoming process. I'll show you. Watch the video all the way through. The Dow was up 1% today, up 417 points, almost 18 points. Back above 42,000, just barely by 1 point. The S&P 500 rallied by almost 31 points, up over 0.5%, 0.55% to close above 5,600. The NASDAQ was flat, and NASDAQ 100 slightly lower. This is the NASDAQ composite. The Russell was down just over 0.5%. The VIX was up by 2.19%. The VIX was correct in predicting today's rally. It predicted it last week that we would get a bounce or a bottom. And again, my guess is we're probably going to get one more push down. I'll show you the charts, let you decide what you think, but I believe we are in a bottoming process. We've got Trump's reciprocal tariffs. I believe that's when the auto tariffs started. I don't think they've started yet. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that they started around the same time there. You got Trump's Liberation Day. And I think the Liberation Day is going to end up marking a bottom to the stock market. I think we can rally. I think this is a preview of coming attractions. People that told us the sell-off wasn't going to happen, that back at the top, that there was no possible way we would sell off, are now the people that are in freak-out mode. Bears are dancing in the aisles. There's no possible way of a rally and a bottom. I'm being attacked because I'm saying we're going to bottom out here and we're going to rally, and I think we're going to rally up 20% or more. Go make new highs, and then I think we're going to top. People have become extremely irrational, and that's what happens at market tops and bottoms. People get extremely greedy at tops and extremely fearful at bottoms. They get complacent at tops and see them throw in the towel and get capitulation and sell at bottoms. That's what they do. I just want to make sure you're aware of this. We are at this horizontal support from the September low of 2024. And we went lower today. We're down 10.70%. Still may go a little bit lower into the support area. If we get a final fifth wave push lower, I'll show you that in the video. But just be aware of that we have this VWAP support. This is an anchored VWAP from the 2023 bottom. We've got the media telling us that, we're going into a depression, pretty much is the way they're doing it. They're praying that the stock market collapses, and we always see the same pattern. And maybe even if Trump doesn't pause the tariffs, or we see negotiations happen, but the tariffs remain in place, there's going to be a hope rally. Hope that this is resolved. Hope that the tariffs go away, even if they stay in place. But Trump may pause them. He did that previously. Saw that with Canada and Mexico, where he did it. They got Trump got concessions, and he paused the tariffs. Saw Canada do, Trump put on the tariffs on steel and aluminum with 25%. Canada retaliated and put a surcharge on electricity. And Trump said, okay, we're going to double the tariffs on you. And they caved immediately. We're likely going to see negotiations. And that's what people like CNN and all the other media can't figure out. They've been doing this for months. Oh, it's never going to work. No, it's not going to happen. And yet, what do we see immediately? Concessions out of other countries immediately. Europe doesn't want to go into recession. They're going to come to the negotiating table. And even if they do retaliatory tariffs, Trump's just going to slap on more tariffs. They're reciprocal, so it's dollar for dollar. Europe's going to back down. Countries being talked about with the reciprocal tariffs. Again, going to see other countries come to the negotiating table. UK is trying to work out a deal right now. Common sense is prevailing over there in the UK right now, trying to get a deal done before the tariffs. I haven't heard any news on it today, but I've been following it. Being told that the stock market's going to crash, Bitcoin's going to crash, and the economy, it's going to be horrible. Now, we're going to have a recession. The recession signals were flashed long before Trump ever won the election, long before the tariffs ever came along. I told you in 2024 the tariffs would be an issue. Again, I've constantly said the market loves Trump's economic policies, but they hate his tariffs. And I can continue to say that. Before the election, I've said it after the election. And again, what's coming? Oh, gee, we have the tax cuts coming. Market could get distracted. the tariffs stay in place and start focusing on the tax cuts. The renewed 2017 tax cuts. The new tax cuts: no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, the middle class tax cuts. Wall Street can hope, hey, maybe some of that money works its way into the stock market. This is the S&P 500 in 2018. Here's what happened in 2018. Some tariffs, we got more tariffs, and we had a lot of volatility. But when the tariffs were announced, everybody was so afraid of on steel and aluminum. The other tariffs, we had the coming tariffs on China. The stock market bottomed. It's already priced in. The market dropped 12%, tested the low right here. It bottomed April 2nd. Oh, does that date seem familiar to you? That's Trump's liberation day for his tariffs, his reciprocal tariffs. Market did what it does, the opposite of what everybody thinks will happen, and it defied logic, and it rallied up 15, I have it marked right here, 15.30%. After dropping 12% and then testing that low, getting a higher low, it rallied up to new highs, shrugged it off. More tariffs along the way from China, and the market kept going high. This is what people aren't looking at it. It's already priced in, and I continue to say Trump's tariffs are likely a sell the rumor, buy the news event. Even if he doesn't pause them, or even if negotiations happen, they keep the tariffs in play. Again, the market can just shrug it off and start focusing on tax cuts, or have a hope rally, as I keep saying, hope that the tariffs will go away, hope that this will be resolved. Do a lot of rallying on hope. This is why I say the market's likely bottoming. Again, over here, announcement of the tariffs, we bottomed right after that. Fall by a massive rally. I think you're going to go up even higher. I think you're going to go up 20% or more to hit the upper channel line in the weekly time frame. Right now that we're about to have this massive crash in the stock market, and with Bitcoin, opposite is likely going to happen. You're likely forming a major bottom. To complete the final blow off top, getting one more rally in an overall topping process. Now, more about the 2018 tariffs, and again, it's 2018 all over again. More about the 2018 tariffs in just a moment. Let me show you what happened today on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. After that, we'll go back and we'll examine things a little bit more closely on what exactly did happen in 2018. This is a preview of coming attractions later in the video. The market bottomed with the tariffs and rallied to new highs with the tariffs. That's not supposed to happen. We're being told there's no possible way that's going to happen, but that's what happened. Bears are telling us we're about to have this massive crash. The herd's telling us there's no possible way we can rally, and yet we're probably about to bottom, or in a bottoming process that is going to take us higher levels, new all-time highs, and probably up around 20%, maybe more. About this chart, let's look at the price action today. I just want to show you what happened in I want to show you what's happening right now today, and then I want to show you what happened in 2018 and why I think we have a bottom, and why I think the tariffs are already priced in. We'll probably go get one more low, because I think we have a 5-leg push down, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I think we're going to get one more push down, and I think that's going to be it. I think we're in a bottoming process. Maybe we go a little bit lower, but you're going to have people, we're going to start to sell off on maybe Wednesday or something. We start to sell off here maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. Maybe we even gap down on Wednesday, but then get a bottom. I think you're going to form a bottom. And here it comes, Trump's tariffs. And then we bottom. I think the RSI is going to end up forming a divergence here that will end up marking a bottom. And again, I think you're going to see something like that develop right there. And I think you're going to undercut this low. We're already undercutting this low a bit. We haven't been able to close above it. When Bitcoin got its second bottom on March 11th, it didn't close below this low. We'll see what happens here. But now, the trend line I previously had, I included the shadow over here, and that tagged this area right there. Well, I went with this peak right here and over here, these highs right here, and went slightly above that level. And we moved beyond that level, but my original trend line, we're coming back to that original trend line right here from this peak over here and these peaks over here. we came back down. This trend line could be important if we test it again, should we not have a bottom right here. But you got a possible bottom. My guess is because you got a hammer here. We gapped lower. We had a gap and trap on an intraday basis. But I think this is probably wave 4, and you get your wave 5, and then I think you're done. Okay, and MACD's turning back up. We have this gap fill up here, by the way, at our cloud right here in the 50-period moving average here on a 60-minute chart. So again, either I think we're trying to bottom here or we get one more push down, but I think you're in a bottoming process. MACD's turning back up. It too could form a divergence right here. Even if we start moving down, it could still turn back up and get this divergence, much like what I'm talking about with the RSI here on the 60-minute chart. So again, I think we are in a bottoming process. My Elliott wave count on the 60-minute chart, so you can see what I'm talking about. Again, this does look corrective to me. This looks like an A, a B, and a C. Now, again, I've had that black count or blue count, the blue count playing out, and so I've marked it here in black now because it was the correct count. We did push lower, and again, I told you this could be a wave 4, and we get a 5-leg push down for the wave 5. I think it's unfolding in 5 waves, 1, 2, 3. I think this is likely 4. Maybe we go a little higher, and then I think you get a dump and you come to undercut this low, and I think that's it. I think you bottom. And it could be, again, it could be that these lows are pointing to the next low, or again, I've marked this low and a possible push underneath this level, marking a possible trend line. But I think you're going to end up forming a divergence here, and then I think we're going to bottom, and that could be April 2nd or later in the week with Powell. I think it could. You got a very good chance April 2nd could be the day of the bottom. If we didn't bottom today, Liberation Day could be the S&P bottom. It's already priced in. Now drop 10.70%. Could drop again to 11 or 12%. And then bottom out. I told you over here we dropped 10.5%. We could end up dropping 12%. That's what we did in 2007 before we went on and made new highs. Here's the count on the 60-minute chart. And again, MACD is turning back up. I think it'll end up probably, if we get another low, probably rolling back over. So with the RSI, and we've got this larger divergence. That's why I've marked that with that low there and right over here with our low here. But I think if we push a little bit lower, I think this could be still under construction for a divergence in the more recent price action. Certainly possible. It is possible we bottom today. Don't want to rule that out. I am looking for a bottom. I think the 5-leg push here is probably more likely that this is a wave 4 and you get a wave 5 and then you bottom out. Marking this wave 3, I've marked this as 1, 2, and then the 5-leg push lower here, and it moved on me a little bit. And you can see, I'll move it back here, you can see again the 5-leg push lower for 3, the ABC for 4, and then I think you have now 5 waves in this final wave C, and I think this whole thing is a wave C to complete intermediate wave 4, and again, this 5-leg push lower to complete that, and then I think we get intermediate wave 5. Again, the bearish scenario would be, no, we topped out, and in this 5-leg push lower, and now you're going to get this A, B, C move, but again, an ABC move would be a 3-3-5 pattern. If this is a 5-leg push lower, that's going to be a hard sell. And if we don't get another push lower, then again, that scenario then comes into play where we go back up and we make a lower high, but then top out and can't make new highs. But again, I expect a rally. I think that we're in a topping process where we're going to go make new highs, but again, I'm showing you the alternative in case we end up stalling and not being able to make new highs. My alternative Elliott wave count showed you that over the weekend. This in the daily time frame real fast. Here it is in the daily time frame. Again, I think you got a 5-leg push lower here. Again, either trying to bottom out or maybe we go a little bit lower. But I think that, again, that 5-leg push I showed you on the 60-minute chart, I think it will bottom out here. And then I think you're going to go up and get it back above the 200, moving towards the 50. And I think the 50 will be prevented from getting a death cross. That's what we saw in 2000 and 2007. And we ended up getting back above it. Now, it is doing what Bitcoin did. You got a low here, and then now you're making another low. That's what Bitcoin did. Bitcoin right now is not moving to a new low. It's setting up a higher low. So again, could we be following Bitcoin? Go watch my latest Bitcoin if you want to see the latest price action on that. Where we could be completing wave 4 here, I think Bitcoin's already got the first subwave. It's getting a wave 2 right now for a higher low. I think that's likely. Bitcoin could still form a divergence. Already got one, and we had that happen March 11th here as we end March 31st. I think you're forming a bottom here, and it could be Trump's Liberation Day that gives us that bottom. Eventually, I think we go up to the 50, we stall, and we pull back, but I think you're going to get a divergence here on the RSI and the MACD in all likelihood. Again, pring parameter has gone negative. It's already had this divergence right here. And what happened back in 2000 and 2007 is pring parameter firmed back up and ended up forming this larger divergence. And I think as the S&P went to a new high, I think that's going to happen again. And then I think you're going to top. And that's why I think over April and May, possibly into the summer, if it drags out, we could see a rally. And we could see it rally up to new highs up here. And that's why I have marked this as this move will complete 5 minor waves higher, intermediate wave 5, and complete the cycle top. And I think that's likely going to be the case. And I think you're going to go, 20 plus percent now, because I think you're going to hit my upper channel line. I think you're going to come under here, just under this level here, in all likelihood. About undercutting this low. When Bitcoin undercutted the low, it was not able to close there. So far, we're not able to close there. Interesting. I think the same thing's going on with the S&P and the NASDAQ both. I think, again, NASDAQ gap lower, got a bullish hammer. It's going back up here to fill the gap. We came back up, filled today's gaps. Probably got to get one more push down. Again, I think you got a 5-leg push down going on here with the NASDAQ as well. Maybe we go a little higher, maybe we don't. But I think you're going to get one more push down, and then I think it's going to bottom. Could get a divergence here on the MACD. Most recent price action, we are getting a divergence with the low over here. The RSIs are going to form these divergences, and I think you're going to mark a bottom. Maybe with Trump's Liberation Day, maybe with Powell later in the week, but I think you're going to get a bottom with the announcement of the tariffs. And even if they're not paused, even if Trump doesn't pause them, the market could just say, shrug it off. It's already priced in. We've dropped now 13, 14% now on NASDAQ or something like that, right around 14%, I think, priced in. I think you're going to end up bottoming out and getting back above the 200. Then 50s are going to come crossing back above the 200 period moving averages. Head towards the 50 periods in the daily time frame. NASDAQ got a hollow red candlestick today. That could mark a bottom with NASDAQ. It's possible. But we have both NASDAQ and S&P moving to new lows. It's possible they even diverge right here at the bottom. One of them make another low and the other one not. That's very possible. Always play out that way, but it's possible. If we go a little bit lower, you've got your 400 period moving average down here. Again, we've had the failed breakout. You likely are now completing your divergence or about to complete it here on the RSI. So again, we'll be watching what becomes of this hollow red candlestick. And again, if it is a wave 4 on intraday, we could still come back down here and then bottom out. And I think you're, again, going to rally up to these 50 period moving averages. I think a death cross is likely going to be prevented. Was in 2000, like it was in 2007. We'll be watching. Clear the 50 and the 100. Can we clear the cloud? I spent a couple hours on this, so I hope you appreciate it. This is the 2018 price action with the tariffs. Trump's tariffs in his first term. I told you we had some volatility surrounding the tariffs in Trump's first term in 2018, but eventually the market shrugged it off. And by the time the tariffs were implemented, we went higher and made new highs. I think you're going to see the same thing. That was followed by a 20% crash. I think you're going to have that here. Only I think that 20% crash will mark a completion, the kicking off of the bear market. I don't think we're going to continue, but I do think we're going to go make one more high. And I'm presenting to you the bearish count with my L8 wave count if we don't, in which I've talked about where we get a lower high scenario. And again, I have the guts to tell you what I think. I think we're still going to go higher. Historically, that is what has happened. Here, we had, at the beginning of 2018, we had this big rally come up here. Trump announced the solar panel and washing machine tariffs on January 22nd. And I want to say this, there were other things in play. We had the stock market also throwing a fit at that time that the Fed was continuing the rate-raising campaign from 2017. Eventually, the market rose to new highs through a tizzy over here. And we had this 20% drop here from the September peak. And then the Fed, we were just kidding. Reverse themselves. And then later quantitative tightening in 2019, but in December of 2018, the Fed ended up caving and they got scared, and so they stopped. But trade tensions were a big issue. Other things, there always is, but again, I wanted to just show you this. Again, here's where we get the announcement of the tariffs for solar panels and washing machines in January. We began to sell off, dropped 12%. Okay, and then we went back later. We tested that low on April 2nd. Oh, does that date mean anything to you? Trump's Liberation Day is April 2nd this week. We started to rally back up after a steep drop, a quick drop of 12%. We rallied back up, and then we got the solar panel and washing machine tariffs there on February 7th. And then the market began to drop again as Trump announced the steel and aluminum tariffs. They were announced on March 1st right here, on this date right here. And then later formally announced right here as we tried to bounce back up, formally announced on March 18th. We rallied a little higher, and then we had this big sell-off to go back and test the lows. After that 12% drop, we dropped back down to get a higher low on April 2nd. And right here, do you see this bar right here? The 25% tariffs on steel, 10% tariffs on aluminum had begun. There were some exemptions, but later they were added in May. Some exemptions, the EU, Canada, and Mexico went into negotiations, eventually hammered out a trade agreement in 2019, but some of the countries exempted later, Canada and Mexico and the EU, did get these tariffs, and again, Trump used that as a bargaining chip with the negotiations that were going on with the trade agreement. Here we have, right here, coming back and testing this low, the volatility, and we have the tariffs announced, and then right after that, we had the China tariffs announced for a future date, but they were announcing that they were going to happen. So we got the tariffs being implemented on steel and aluminum. We have the tariffs on the washers and the solar panels, and then the market's selling off, and then we get the announcement of the China tariffs. And what does the market do? Does it crash? No, it was already priced in. The market bottomed. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? And then we began to get a massive, massive rally after what? After the tariffs came on board, the market shrugged it off and had already priced it in. A hope rally. Negotiations began. Oh, we're told by the media. The media is telling us there's no way. I have Trump slap on tariffs, and Europe's going to retaliate, and other countries, Canada, they're all going to retaliate, Mexico. That's it. And then Trump will keep slapping on tariffs, and there's going to be no negotiations. I mean, you got to leave your brain at the door to believe that. Not going to willfully walk into a recession. They're going to have one. It's going to happen. Global recession. Again, it's likely coming, but you're probably going to get one more run-up before that happens. So we had all the volatility with the announcement of the steel and aluminum tariffs and the solar panel tariffs, the solar panel or washing machine tariffs and all that, the tariffs with China. We had all this volatility, but then we bottomed out when they came on board. Some volatility there with after the solar panel and washing machine tariffs began with these other tariff announcements, which is exactly what we've seen right now. And some tariffs begin. China, we saw when aluminum tariffs begin. Now you got the reciprocal tariffs. Likely going to do what it did over here and mark a bottom. It's already priced in. And then we're going to get this run up. And I think you're going to get a powerful run up. And I think it's going to be very similar to 2018. And then I think you're going to see a 20% crash, which is what we had here. Only this time in 2019 and 20, we're not going to continue the bull market. It's going to be the end of the bull market. Now here we got the tariffs on China. And again, look, we had this big rally after we got those other tariffs. We got the announcement of China tariffs down here at the bottom, but we got the Chinese tariffs here. And again, we had another bottom. We had pulled back, and we continued to rally onward and upward. 25% tariffs on China. Right after that, Trump slapped on additional tariffs in July 10th, and here on in early August 1st. More tariffs right here. Market kept going higher. Trump kept doing increases on different tariffs that were in place on China, and we had that happen there in September, and then back over here on January 1st, 2019. These tariffs being announced on China, and you already had the other tariffs, and what did the market do? It went higher. It shrugged it off. Eventually, we got, again, a temper tantrum because the Fed kept raising their rates, and the market threw a fit and the Fed caved. That's what this was all about, and concerns about the economy. We had all these tariffs going on, and then the tariffs eventually we got to sell off with it because there was concerns that we were going to move into recession. Fed was pushing rates higher. The tariffs ended up slowing the economy, and the Fed raising rates, and there was really some concerns there, and the Fed caved. That's what I think is going to be the case. Again, I think the market has already priced it in. I think the market is going to have this run up, and this was over several months. I don't know that we go that long, but I think we're going to run up to new highs. We did in 2000 and 2007, and you're going to make a top, and I think you're going to see something like this. And even in 2000, after the 2007 top and the 2000 top, you drop 20%. That's when the Fed panics. It's happened over and over again. I think you're going to get a rally of hope. Now, all these black dots right here, I've marked here where Trump threatened the reciprocal tariffs on Europe and sometimes other places like Canada. He did a lot of tweeting in 2018. The different place, I couldn't fit it all on here. So again, I've just marked the dates right here: June 22nd, July, August, and a couple of dates in March and February here. You have it over here. But at 5 different times, Trump was threatening reciprocal tariffs, and he didn't go through with it. We did get all these other tariffs, and China got a boatload of tariffs, but I've marked those places here with the black dots here, and we've had some volatility surrounding them. Some marked bottoms, other ones marked short-term tops, but again, so this defies logic. Okay, you have a bottom here on April 2nd, hint, hint. April 2nd is this week Liberation Day, Trump's Liberation Day. You had a bottom, okay? Here you made a higher low surrounding the tariffs. Right now we're making a lower low, likely forming a divergence. I think you're going to get a run-up. I think 2 things. I think that, again, as I keep saying, I think that the tariffs, the stock market has already priced them in. And by the time we get the tariffs, even if Trump doesn't pause them, even if they're not delayed, even if, say negotiations happen and there's hope, but Trump doesn't pause them, if he does or doesn't, I think you're going to get a rally of hope. The tariffs, when we get them, have already been priced in. Just considering this. Thing is again, I keep saying, I think it's a sell the rumor, buy the news event. We're going to run up, but then I think we're going to have actually a freak out. Concerns about inflation, concerns about the economy, concerns about the Fed not lowering rates, and we're going to see another fit being thrown. And the market's going to drop 20% like it did over here in 2018. The Fed will cave, and they'll do emergency cuts. They're pausing right now, telling us, they've raised their expectations for inflation and lowered their expectations for economic growth for GDP. Telling Powell still saying, well, it's not recessionary. It's going to be a positive number. Eventually, look, we are going to move into recession, and it's coming. We've already had the second inverting of the yield curve, and it uninverted, telling us we are months away from a recession. I think we go to one more high, maybe over April and May. Maybe it drags on into the summer, but I think you're going to see a recession here before 2025 ends, likely in the second half of the year. So could this be the blueprint, our tariff blueprint here for the market, where, again, you get all the volatility, and then when you get the tariffs actually coming on board, all of them on board here, and announcements of tariffs, what do? You bottom out, and then you rally. You get more announcements of tariffs, and the market shrugged it off. But eventually, it said too much. There began to be concerns about the economy, slowing economic growth, and the Fed raising rates, and the market sold off. And then the Fed panicked, and you got your 20% drop. So this is what I think is going to happen. Conventional wisdom is there's no way the stock market is going to bottom and rally. That's not what has happened in the past. And I wanted to show you this because, again, I believe the bottom is under construction. I think we probably get one more push lower, and I think we're going to bottom. I have more important things to share with you, but if you found this helpful, please take a moment and support the channel. If you could take a moment and partner with me, I really appreciate it. I don't have any sponsors. I turned those offers down. I don't want to sell you anything. Like the charts as much as I do, please consider supporting the channel today. Anything helps. Just follow the link below to take you to a secured site, and you can donate any amount you want. Take a moment to do that. I would really, really appreciate it. I thank you for that. One last thing before I leave this chart. Again, we dropped 12%. We went back, revisited that sell-off, and again, then we had the rally. And again, I talked about the sell-offs. 1,000, we dropped just around 10.5%, just a little bit more. We've dropped a little bit more than that. Continue lower. Again, we could drop as much as 12%. I think we're going to bottom. The VIX predicted that we would have a rally either Monday or Tuesday. We got it today. Now the VIX is predicting we're about to get a bounce or a bottom. Now that was it. Maybe we've tried to bottom today. We did get a black candlestick today, but again, my guess is the S&P is probably going to get one more push lower. Maybe it doesn't. Again, we'll see what happens. I'm showing you a 5-leg push lower, Elliott wave count, a 5-leg push lower from our Elliott wave count. I think that's very possible. But we got a black candlestick. This bar right here, we're up about 16%. And it was predicting that we were going to have a rally on the S&P within the next 2 days, Monday or Tuesday. We got it today. So again, oftentimes the VIX will top before the S&P bottoms. I've talked about this over and over again. We had the S&P move to a low over here, and the VIX got this peak. Now the S&P is moving to a new low, but the VIX is making a lower high. That is often the way it works. These other bottoms over here, the bottom over here, we had a lower high, lower than the peak over here. You're likely doing the same thing. Maybe it's not done yet. So it could be with the black candlestick, but again, it is very, very possible. This is predicting that we've just bottomed or about to bottom, one or the other, with the signal that we got on Friday. I'm told there's no possible way that could happen. I told you last Thursday that a big move was coming because we got that doji candlestick. We got rejection at the 200 period moving average, and we had that evening star. You can't see it here because of the bars reflecting the trend, but it was a evening star, a 3-day reversal pattern with that doji. This is a red bar. It just didn't flip until we got the doji the following day, and then we got confirmation. Really decisive push with flipping the momentum back to a bearish reversal of conditions. I told you again, scenarios, we're either going to get a higher low or we're going to undercut this low right here and move to a new low. And if you do that, you're going to likely form a divergence. And we're now getting a red bar. I told you to watch for that. You're going to see the same thing on the MACD. Conventional wisdom is a stock market. The bottom's about to fall out of the stock market, and we're going to drop another 10 or 15%. That's the narrative right now. And again, I keep saying, I believe this is a preview of coming attractions. And narrative right now, the conventional wisdom, and the media is promoting this, and the herd's repeating this, that Trump's tariffs, we're all going to die. And again, we've known this is coming. It's already priced in to the market. Let me repeat that. It's already priced in, just like it was in 2018. Watch the video all the way through and you'll see what I'm talking about. We got the actual tariffs in 2018. It was already priced in. Similar drop to what we have right now. A little bit more. We were down 10.5%. At today's low, we were down 10.70%. We could probably drop a little bit more. I'll show you the Elliott wave count. We're likely in a bottoming process, and these divergences are likely going to mark a bottom. 2018, we got the tariffs. We bottomed right after that with a higher low, I believe. I'll show you the chart. Watch the video all the way through. Again, I think you're forming a divergence. Possible we have a bottom today. I think you're probably going to get one more push down, and then I think we're going to bottom. And that could be Liberation Day. We could start dropping, and everybody will go, oh no, here it comes. Then we get a monster rally back up. Again, I believe we're going to new highs. I believe we're going to get a 20% rally in all likelihood from whatever bottom is established here. Go a little bit lower. It might be more than 20% because I'm looking for the upper channel line to be tested in the weekly time frame. I told you to watch and see if we get red bars, to see if we get a confirmation of a higher low or divergence. That's now happening. And again, herd is in freak out mode. They told us this sell-off was never ever going to happen. Told us there's no way we can go down. Now they're telling us there's no way we can go up. But that's what the herd does.